Good morning, students. Namaskar, Suprabhat, Sat Sri Akal, Vadakkam, Kem Cho, etc. So I welcome you in our last session of income tax paper 3A, and today we will be completing our chapter number 9 with test your knowledge questions. So I believe you must be studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So in the last session, we have covered the provision regarding this chapter. And as I have told you, there were two new concepts in this chapter only. There was one was AMT, alternate minimum tax. And the second one was to structure a salary package. And as we have discussed in the last class, structure a salary package does not have any specific answer, any fixed answer. It will depend upon uh, different cases, depend upon your place of services, your salary allowances, perquisite, etc. But the basic summary was that you have to design your salary structure in a manner in which you can have minimum tax liability and maximum inflow in your hand. So I believe you must have revised those provisions. Okay, good morning, Linga. Good morning, Neeraj. Good morning, Dia. Good morning, Shraddha. Good morning, Ambika. Good morning, Tiwari, Radhe Shyam. So today we will be discussing test your knowledge question, and it would be kind of a summary of all the provision we have covered till now, from basic, residential, then of course heads of income, then clubbing provision, then set of provision, then deduction, advance tax, TDS, etc. So as I have already told you in the last session also, generally the compulsory question will be framed from this chapter, in which you may need to calculate your income tax under default tax regime as well as under optional tax regime and the tax liability to minimize the tax or the tax liability which is most beneficial for the assessee. Rajiv is saying good morning. Good morning, Rajiv. So let's share the thought for the day. And I believe this is the most important and most relevant thought for the day because today is our last class. So I thought this would be the best code, best thought for the day or for your entire life. So if it is important to you, you will find a way. And if it's not, you will find an excuse. So this is very practical, very true also. So if there is something important, something matter to you, you will find a way to do that thing. And if that is not important to you will try to find an excuse. So, of course, this is also applicable in case of studies. If being a CA is important to you, then definitely you will find a way, whether there are problems, issues, etc., whatever it is, you will find a way to become a chartered accountant, to find out the time for study, etc. And if that is not important for you, definitely you will find an excuse that I can't do this, I would not be able to do this course or whatever it is. So believe me, it is really, really important to become a chartered accountant and please find a way to do it anyhow. Moving on to the provision, Nagarja is asking, meaning of educate consideration. So educate consideration means reasonable consideration, the real consideration. Suppose there is a property and the market value of that property is suppose 50 lakh rupees. 50 lakh rupees. So educate consideration would be called 50 lakh rupees. If somebody is going to sell that property to someone for 10 lakh rupees, that means it is inadequate consideration. So which is not reasonable, that is inadequate. Which is reasonable, that would be called educate consideration. Generally up to the market value. Good morning, Harsh. Okay. Good morning, Lakshita. So moving on to the provision, and we will start from test your knowledge question and compute the tax liability. Arun Sagar wants to ask something. Let me see what he wants to ask. Yes, Arun.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, actually, I have a doubt. Before the last section, you explained in case the senior citizen have the income only pension and the interest earning from same bank, this exemption no need to file it. But here, as per the condition, if the TDS exceeding 50 and the gross profit increasing, means total income increasing the basic limit, here it's telling you they have to be filed the income tax.
So
Then
there are
which one
the
I need to consider?
general provision. If you have exceeding 50,000 rupees TDS, that's a general condition. You have to file an income tax return. But under TDS, when we discuss that provision, that was a specific case. It says if you are a pensioner, if you are receiving interest only income and from the same bank, then it does not matter how much TDS has been deducted. If there is no other income, only income from pension and interest from the same bank, and the educate TDS has been deducted by the bank. In that situation, if your age is more than 75 years, in that situation, you do not need to file your income tax return. So that's a very specific condition. If all of the condition of TDS, that provision has been fulfilled, then you do not need to file income tax return. Otherwise, suppose if the age is not more than 75, if the other income also there except pension, if the interest is not received from the same bank, so if all of the condition of that TDS provision has not been fulfilled, then that person need to file income tax return if he fall in the other condition like more than 50,000 TDS, gross asset, etc.
Sir, is this applicable to section 44 series ADA, AD?
No, but that should be na business income would be there. So if their business income, then automatically that TDS provision would not be applicable because it say you should only have pension and interest income. As soon as you will have 44 AD etc. income, that would fall under PGVP head. So in that
Then,
circumstances, that
then how that sections are going to helpful means indirectly they're telling if you collect TDS, that time also you need to maintain books, and here also it's telling you need to file. If you need to follow this thing, then
books of
definitely you have to
accounts
maintain.
books of account maintenance is a separate thing. You are mixing separate provision together. What is your issue? What is your problem? The
Sir
problem is
means indirectly, okay, first they directly telling no need to maintain books of account, but here they telling me to maintain, okay, they means to file and TDS account you also main the supportive document. Without maintaining anything for required documents, how can I prove that government means I had this income from my business, from this business, from this guy's given amount like that?
you do not need to tell government whatever income you have initially. The first stage is declaration of liability. If you do have business income, you should declare. Okay. If you do not have business income, do not declare. So first is it's your choice what income you need to disclose to the government. Suppose if you have business income and you did not declare it, then for self declaration there is nothing to do. But suppose if government comes to know about your business later on, then they will charge tax, interest, penalty, and would be a lot of consequences would be there. Now, the second part, you are discussing about कि books of account maintenance. No, section 44 AD, ADA, etc. It says if you fall in those section, you do not need to maintain specified books of account. So there are two separate things we are discussing. One thing, you should not maintain books of account. That is not the case. You should not require to maintain specified books of accounts, but at least you have certain things. So if assessing officer wants or if he needs, so he can calculate your actual income at the time when he needs to calculate it. So your that query that if it is a senior citizen, then we do not need to file your return, that is different. And now what you are asking, that is different for regarding presumptive taxation scheme.
Okay. Sir means okay, small business also need to be main file in ITR here.
Again, we cannot give the casual answer. Anyone requires to fill ITR if he fall in a section 139(1), any condition. As we discussed, if it's a partnership or company, always required to be filed. So you have to be very specific about your question. When you say any business required to file ITR, I cannot answer. I have to ask you what kind of business. Does it fall in any specified condition, transactions, or it is a partnership firm, etc. Then only we can answer. And let me tell you, In the examination also, na, examiner will make a specific question. It is a business, it is an individual, his sale is this, his transactions are this. So on the basis of that information only, you would be able to answer. We cannot give a general answer. Suppose a client comes to me and he directly asks me, sir, do I need to file my income tax return? I cannot answer. I have to ask him certain questions. What is your status? Your individual, firm, company, what is the sale? What are transaction? Are you paying electricity bill more than 1 lakh rupees? Any foreign travel? So after collecting information only, I would be able to give the correct answer.
Okay, sir. Sir, actually, I have one more doubt. Sir, I read on provisions. If you, okay, the um, alternative minimum tax also adjusted if adjusted total income is lesser than 20 lakh. How is possible? Means alternative minimum tax only apply when the income is exceeding the 20 lakh, means specifically other than companies, except farm.
Look, in case of individual HUF, AOP, BOY, AJP, if
Yes, sir.
these are the person, in these cases, you have to see the adjusted total income. So if they are the assessee, any of them, then you have to apply AMT if your adjusted total income exceeding 20 lakh rupees. If that is a case of partnership from an LLP, so I've told in the last class also, maybe you missed it. In case of partnership from and LLP, there is no requirement of ATI exceeding 20 lakh. Whatever is the ATI, you have to apply the AMT provision.
Okay. Sir, means I'm asked only, means a alternative minimum tax credit only if total adjusted total income is lesser than 20 lakh, I can use only forms and partnership.
Yes,
Okay.
LLP and partnership from.
Okay. Got
Correct.
it. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So Nagaraj is saying, sir, I am referred all last 5 question paper. All questions come from study material, illustration, and examples TYQ. Of course, as I have discussed in the earlier sessions also, first of all, you have to complete your illustrations, test your knowledge question, previous year question papers, and MTP, RTP question. That would be enough for your examination. You do not need to refer any other book, etc. Not required. Just complete your study illustration, test your knowledge questions, preceding 3-4 year attempts question paper. RTP and MTP is very, very important. That would be issued by the institute. So please practice those questions of RTP, MTP, case scenario, etc. There will be more than 200 questions at least. So please, if you'll go through with all that question, I can assure you there would be a question like those only in the examination. Okay. So do not refer any book, etc. Not required at all. So moving to test your knowledge question. Compute the tax liability of Mr. Gupta, age 61 years. So let me tell you, in a question, the first and very important step, it is first step to understand what is the requirement of question. And please mark important things. When you read a question, try to mark important information which has been given in the question. Now you can see compute the tax liability of Mr. Gupta, age 61 years. So we should mark this because this would affect my tax slab, etc., or the other provisions also. Under default tax requirement, so they want me to calculate my tax liability under default tax regime. So requirement of question is to calculate tax liability under default tax regime, and the age is 61. So he's a senior citizen having total income of 1 crore 1 lakh 50,000 for assessment year 26-27. Assume that his total income comprise of salary, income from house property, and interest on fixed deposit. In the basic concept chapter, I have told you one thing, that if your income slightly exceeding to that limit, after that surcharge rate change or surcharge is applicable, then please think about the marginal relief concept when you are calculating tax. So our surcharge limits are 50 lakh. If exceeding 50 lakh, surcharge. If exceeding 1 crore, surcharge rate change. If exceeding 2 crore, surcharge rate change. If exceeding 5 crore, surcharge rate change. So this 5 crore is under optional tax regime. So in a default tax regime, there are three amounts. If your income has been given in the question slightly exceeding these value. So please remember there would be a possibility of marginal relief. So calculate your tax on the basis of marginal relief provision. And you can see in this question, the income has been given 1 crore 1,50,000. So it's slightly exceeding 1 crore. And after 1 crore, the surcharge rate is 15%. So that's why we have to keep in our mind that we maybe need to solve this question as per marginal relief concept. And definitely we are going to calculate the tax as per marginal relief. So when we will solve this question, of course, you will be able to recall the provision of marginal relief. In case of marginal relief, in chapter 1, we have discussed that you have to calculate as per the following procedure. The income which has been given in question, you need to take, and that has been given 1 crore 1,50,000. We have to calculate the tax which has been given in the question. So upon 1 crore 1,50,000, if you will calculate the tax as per default tax regime, then the tax would be 262. I have already done the calculation yesterday. This would be my tax. What would be the surcharge rate in this case, students? And does the being a senior citizen would affect my calculation of tax in this question? The question relates to a senior citizen. So does it affect my tax slab in this question? And what would be the surcharge rate? Navneet is saying how to revise and make strong numerical as Will's theoretical subject. Practice, that's it. You cannot do anything except practice. So practice is the best way to revise provision, etc. Harivansh is saying 15%. Arun Sagar is saying on query portal 15. Nagaraja is saying 15%, 15% Neeraj. Navneet is saying no. That means the salary, the tax slab rate would not be affected by the age of the person which has been given in the question because we are under default tax regime. So tax slabs are same in case of default tax regime. 15% default tax regime does not affect to senior citizen. Exactly. Harivansh is saying 10%. Harivansh, that's not correct. 10% is up to 1 crore. The income is exceeding 1 crore, so surcharge rate would not be 10%. Harsh is saying surcharge no need. Why surcharge no need, Harsh? Of course, we have to calculate the surcharge and surcharge rate would be 15%. So surcharge would be 393,750. So this would be my tax 3018,750. Cess would be applicable after the calculation. Now step number 2 says, now put that income over here up to which surcharge rate was different or the rate which has been applicable before this surcharge rate. So if surcharge is applicable 15% when your income exceeding 1 crore, then up to 1 crore, the income tax surcharge rate would be changed. So up to 1 crore, surcharge would be applicable at different rate. So we will take this value up to which there was different surcharge rate. Preceding surcharge rate was applicable. So the tax liability would be 258,0000 and surcharge would be in this case applicable 10%. So my tax liability would be in this case. Now step number 3 says, what step 3 says? I have told you in the basic concept chapter, what is the third step number 3. Now what we do need to do? Sorry, little cold. Okay. Dhanlakshmi is saying deduct step 1 with step number 2. Joinder is saying difference. Check difference. Shamli, difference 1 of 2. Correct. Absolutely right. Very good. So now we will take the difference of income and the difference of tax in this scenario. So you can see the income has been changed from 1,50,000 rupees, but the difference of tax would be from 1,80,750. So tax is more than income. So income is less, difference of income is less, and the difference of tax is greater. So that is the case when you will apply marginal relief. If your tax has been increased more than the increase in income, then marginal relief concept would be applied. And it say, how do you calculate marginal relief? This is difference of tax minus difference of income. So to calculate the marginal relief, the difference of tax minus difference of income. If this is more than 1,80,750, if this figure is more than 1,80,750, then there would not be any marginal relief. So in this case, the marginal relief is 3,750. Now what we will do with this marginal relief? We will reduce this marginal relief from the tax liability because we have to calculate tax on this value. So whatever was the tax on this value, you can have the discount as a marginal relief out of this value. So after that, my tax would be 30,18,750. Sorry, this would be 29,88,000. Then we have to apply the cess 119520, and total tax liability would be 3107520. Now let me tell you, because in this question, the question asked us to calculate tax liability. So this would be my answer. Suppose in this question, the question only asks us to calculate, if the question asks calculate marginally, that's it. If the question does not ask or does not require you to calculate the tax liability, if the question says you just need to calculate the marginally, then let me tell you, please finish your answer over here. Marginally this. Do not go for this step that is not required by the question. So it will waste your time. And of course, that is not the requirement of question also. So if suppose question asks you to calculate marginal relief only, then you do not need to go further after calculating the marginal relief. Understood? Okay. Moving on to second question. And you will see it is connected to residential status as well as incidence of tax, etc. So let's see what is the requirement of question. Miss Charlie and American national got married, etc. And the requirements say, point A, determine her residential status and compute the total income that would be chargeable to tax along with the amount of tax liability. So we have to calculate the tax liability, we have to calculate the total income. On such income for assessment year 26-27, if she opts out of the default tax regime. So A point require you to calculate TI and tax under optional tax regime. And B point says, would her residential status undergo any change? Assuming that she is a person of Indian origin and her total income from Indian sources 18 lakh and she is not liable to tax in USA. So would her residential status undergo any change? So B point just asking you that would her status would change if the information we have changed. So in B point, they are not asking you to recalculate the tax or income. They just want you to calculate that whether her status would change or not. Neeraj already start giving answer. We have to calculate it. So this is the point. Point number B, kind of question somebody asked yesterday about the deemed resident concept. So we will say whether she would be a resident, deemed resident, etc. But now we will see the question and need to solve point number A first, as per the given information. So Miss Charlie, an American national. So first of all, she is not an Indian national. I always told you that please mark important points when you solve any question. So citizenship is from America. Got married to Mr. Radhe of India in USA on 2nd March 2025 and came to India for the first time on 16th March 25. So she came to India first time on 16th March 25. That date does not fall in our previous year. She left for USA on 19 September 25. She returned to India again on 27th March 2026. Okay. While in India, she had purchased a showroom in Mumbai on so and so, which was leased out to a company on a rent of 25,000 per month. That would be her income information is being given, which was leased out to a company on a rent of 25,000 per month. And it has been let out from 1st of May 2025. She had taken loan from a bank for purchase of this showroom, on which bank had charged interest of 97,500. So she's paying bank interest against this income, and that is 97,500. Up to 31st March 26, she had received the following cash gifts from her relative also and friends during so and so. So she received cash gift from parents of husband, that means her in-laws, 51,000, married sister of husband, 11,000, and from two very close friends of her husband, 151 and 21,000. So first of all, you have to find out her residential status. Just give me a second. Okay, back to the work. So let's solve this now. That is question number 2. So in that question number 2, she came to India on 16th March 25, first time, and left on 19th September 25. Okay. She again came to India in this previous year on 27th March 26. Tell me now, under residential status, there were one concept of basic condition. There were two basic conditions, more than equal to 182 days in India, or second is more than equal to 60 days in India in previous year and more than equal to 365 days in India in 4 preceding previous year. There are 3 special conditions also. It says if you are a individual plus citizen of India, and if you go outside India for employment, occupation permanently. Second was if you are an individual, citizen, or person of Indian origin and you comes to visit India. In these two cases, you would be a resident if you fulfill only first condition of 182 days. If you do not fulfill this condition, you would be a non-resident. The third special case for individual who is either citizen or person of Indian origin comes to visit India having more than 15 lakh rupees Indian source income. And if he or she is more than equal to 182 days in India or more than equal to 120 days plus more than equal to 365 days condition. So if any individual fulfill these basic condition or a special case condition, he or she would be called a resident, otherwise non-resident. So can you tell me, in our case of Miss Charlie, does she fall to fulfill these condition or any of a special condition also applicable in her case? Let me show you the question again. So read this question, and I have told you when we discuss the provision of residential status that first of all always check whether the question does fall in a special circumstances case or basic condition case. So on the basis of point number one, point number A, only point number A, you have to find out whether special provision applicable or not. I believe you must have read this question now. Now, let me show you the slide on which I have put the condition. So, is any special condition applicable? Or we have to check both the basic condition for the purpose of her residential status. Shamli is saying, Navneet is saying 120 days. Shraddha is saying 187. Nagaraj is saying 193 days. Shamli is saying no. Basic condition is special also applicable, but she is non-resident. Is special, Navneet, how special condition is applicable? Which of these three condition, any of these three condition you think applicable? Which condition out of this or this or this applicable, Mr. Navneet? Basic condition is saying Dhanlakshmi. Neeraj is saying no special condition. Achitya is saying basic. Linga is saying special condition does not apply. Good. Mustafa is saying basic condition both. Navneet is saying only basic and INR non-resident 177. Basic condition satisfied. Special condition not satisfied. Basic. So because she is a American citizen and not a person of Indian origin, that information what has been given. So we will not consider her as a person of Indian origin. And you can see to opt the special condition case, either somebody should be the citizen or a POIO. So she is not a citizen, not a POIO. So that means she does fall under this category. And we need to check both condition upon her. If any of this condition has been fulfilled, she would be a resident. Now let's calculate the number of days she stayed in India. She came on 16th March 25. And our previous year is 25-26. That means from 1st April 25 till 31st March 26, we have to check how many days she was in India. So 16th March does not fall in this category. So we will consider from April. So from 16th March till 31st March, she's in India, but those days are not relevant for my previous year. So from March till September, I have to start counting date from April. April 30 days, May, June, July, August. And 19 days of September, the day of departure, will be considered as in India. And she came back on 27. So 27 will be included, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. So 5 days from the month of March. So aggregate number of days she would be staying in India is 177. So this condition of basic 182 days does not fulfill. Now we have to check second, because she is in India for 177 days. So this condition of 60 days has been fulfilled. Now in 4 preceding previous years, she has to be in India for at least 365 days. And she only comes first time in India on 16th of March. So technically, she would be in India in the last preceding year from 16th March, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that would be 16 days only. And before that, she was never in India. So only 16 days she stayed in India in the preceding 4 previous year. So she does not fulfill this condition also, because no basic condition has been fulfilled. So she would be treated as a non-resident. Correct? Now, on the basis of she became non-resident, we have to calculate her income also. Yes, correct. Mustafa, it's not 172 days, it would be 177 days. You might skip these March end date, so you have to add those also. Non-resident is the correct answer. Well done. Now, moving on to the question, if you'll see, the income information has been given. So she is having a house property income. She is earning from 1st May 25,000 rupees per month. So her income from house property would be 2,25,000. 11 months rent would be her GAV. Then we have to reduce 30% deduction. This is simple calculation. And interest she paid 97,500. So the income from house property would be 95,000. Gift from in-laws are exempted because they are fall under the definition of relative. Married sister also does fall in the definition of relatives, so no taxability, they both are exempted. But friends do not fall in the definition of relative, and as the monetary gift is exceeding 50,000, the full value is going to be taxed in case of this. So 151 and 21 also going to be taxed under income from other source. So total income would be 2,67,000. Now please do one thing, kindly calculate the tax on this value. We need to solve this question as per optional tax regime. So can you tell me the final tax liability on 2,67,000? Let me see who is going to tell me the correct final tax liability. Suppose in the examination, if I'll ask you after giving all these information that please calculate the tax liability. So what would be your final answer of tax? Please send me your answer if you have calculated. Harivansh is saying is all provisions are applicable for house property head even if you're non-resident. Yes, of course, Harivansh. You must have gone through under house property topic. Then Lakshmi is saying 850. Shraddha is saying 884. 850. Neeraj is saying if she is below 60 years, the question is silent. Always treat that person is less than 60 year age. Neeraj is saying sex excluded. Why says excluded? Tiwari Radheshyam is saying 850. Arun Sagar is saying, but gift from non-relative exempted due to marriage occasion, but where it has been saying that the gift has been received at the time of marriage. Marriage has been done in 2nd March 2025, and we have received gifts in previous year 25-26. So it is not at the time of marriage. Should not assume anything, Mr. Anurag, with yourself. Marriage on 2nd March 25, that is not in the part of my previous year. As income information has been given during 1st April 25 till 31st March 26. So that is definitely after marriage. Navneet is saying total 269,500. The income is 2,67,000, Navneet. How it is 269,500? Neeraj is saying 884. Mustafa 884. Navneet wants to say something. Yes, Mr. Navneet.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, actually, it is given in the question that rent is 25,000 per month from May.
Correct.
Okay, so that is for 11 months he's getting rent. So 25 into 11 is equal to 275, no?
Yes.
So, sir, minus 30% is equal to 192,500. Minus 97,500 is, I think, sir, you have done for 10 month only calculation for rent.
Uh, Let me see in the question.
250.
Let's see the question. The rent, if it is for 11 months, where is my calculator?
Because sir, 250 for 10 month plus 25 is equal to 275 for 11 month.
Yes, it should be 275, correct? 275 into 30%, 82,597. So it's 95,000, is correct? What is the issue in this? I don't know. It's we have calculated the correct calculation. Where is the look? The rent
Okay.
would be 2,75,000.
Yes, sir.
30% of this would be
192 500
2,500.
माइनस कर गया यार.
ठीक है.
हाँ जी.
इसके बाद we will minus the interest on loan 97,500.
Yes, sir.
It will remain 95,000.
95,000. Yes, sir.
Correct है? Right?
Plus 151,000 plus
51
21,000.
and 21,000. So it would be 2,61,000.
267.
267, correct?
So, sir, as per old tax regime, 2.5 lakh will be nil, and after 70,000, tax will be calculated at 5%, and rebate will be available for him for as per old tax regime.
Yes,
So,
yes, of course, of course. What is the
zero
correct
tax.
answer? Final answer. I am asking for the final answer.
So, sir, after rebate under section 87, final answer will be zero because
Beta,
as per
listen.
old tax regime.
She is a non-resident. She cannot claim rebate.
Okay,
That's why
yes,
I
sir,
was
see, no,
saying
yeah,
it's very important to understand the question because she is a non-resident, so she cannot have the benefit of rebate.
yes, sir. So, it will be 884.
Yes, yes. Almost you are correct, but 884 is not the correct answer. I am asking in the examination what all of you will write it down, and I was seeing in the chat box 884 is the answer which is actually given by the most of the student. But it would be 880 because we have to round it off as we
Yes, sir.
discussed. So for the examination, you will write it down 884 and then you have to show that because we have to give the answer in the 10 rupees nearest multiple. So the final answer and correct answer should be 880. Clear?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so that was the answer of question and it should be 880. So that's why I was asking you to calculate, because once you make a mistake yourself, then next time now this mistake will not be repeated automatically. So those who have given the answer 884, 884, 884, now they will, whenever they will solve a question of calculation of tax, automatically you will write it down the correct answer 880. So we learn from our mistake. That's the best learning you could have in your life. When you do a mistake and then you rectify it. So that is a thing you never forget in your life. So that's why I've asked you, all of you, because this is a general mistake which is actually done by a student in the examination. So that will not cut your marks right now, because now you will see, because you have learned by your mistake. So that is very, very important lesson in our life. Yes, Shraddha, if you will write 884, you will have to lose your marks. That's of course correct. Okay, so moving on to the question, second part. When I was seeing, when we were discussing this question, then almost too many students start giving the answer of the second point. Now give me the answer of second point. I was not talking regarding this point at that point of time. So A point has been solved. Okay. Now the question says, would her status undergo any change, assuming that she is a person of Indian origin and her total income from Indian sources 18 lakh and she is not liable to tax in USA. So read these provision and it says, I have written down the conditions also. So now it says, suppose if she is a person of Indian origin and she is having income more than 15 lakh, that means she is income 18 lakh rupees from USA, where is no taxes applicable in USA, suppose. So does her residential status will change from non-resident or not? It will remain the same. So if she becomes a person of Indian origin, then does she fall in the special case or not? Or would she would be treated as a deemed resident or not? Always Navneet is saying resident, not ordinary resident. Neeraj is saying deemed resident, special condition. Yes, she assumed deemed resident. She passes 120 days stay and have 18 lakh rupees. She is not deemed resident and she will not fall in a special case. Then Lakshmi is saying, Harsh is saying if 885 or more, then round off to 2. Yes, Harsh, correct. No change. Special condition not satisfied because of days. Non-resident because is only applicable for Indian same. So let me tell you the correct answer. If as per point number B, she is a person of Indian origin and having more than 15 lakh rupees income from Indian sources, no tax in USA, then she will fall in this category, third condition. And for third condition, the first, of course, again did not satisfy. She will satisfy this 177 days condition, but again did not able to satisfy the 365 days condition. And because of this reason, she would be treated as a non-resident. That means she does not fulfill these conditions. Now, if you'll see that some of you are answering that she's a deemed resident. No, she won't fulfill the deemed resident condition also, because the first requirement of deemed resident is that person should be citizen of India. POIO does not include to be treated as deemed resident, only a citizen of India. If in this question the point number B says or would have been given that suppose she is a citizen of India, then she would be a deemed resident. So because she does not have 365 days, then she could not fulfill this condition. And because she is a POIU only, not a citizen, so she cannot be a deemed resident. So her status would still remain the non-resident and there would not be any change in it. I hope it's clear now. सभी का गलत है. Yes. So learn from your mistakes, because questions in CA intermediate level, if you seems those are easy, so calculation could be easy, but there would be something tricky in that. So if you think that you read the question, you find out the answer, and you think you are correct, please read it twice. It would not be that simple, I believe. Chalo. Moving on to the next question. Now, this is point number 3, the kind of question that may be asked in the compulsory question category. Dr. Niranjana, a resident individual, age 60 years. So again, age matters. 60 years is running a clinic in Surat. Her income and expenditure account has been given below. First of all, we have to see what is the requirement of question, what question want us to calculate. And it says, from the above, compute the total income of Dr. Niranjana for the assessment year 26-27 under default tax regime and optional tax regime as per normal provision of the Act. So they just want us to calculate total income. I have seen multiple students when the question was asking regarding calculation of total income, and they have calculated the total income as well as tax. And they say, oh, sir, we did not read. We thought that was the requirement of total income, so tax would have been required to be calculated. No. So if the question is asking only for total income, then just finish your answer after calculating total income. There is no requirement to calculate tax at all. You will lose your time, and time is money in the examination. Time is value in the examination. So both way we have to calculate as per default tax regime, as per optional tax regime. The information has been given in the question. You can see I would try to solve most of the part in this page only. So you will see the question as well as you will understand the solution also. So first of all, PGBP information has been given. So what do we do generally? We take the net profit as per given in the question. And the question is net profit is 4,40,400. Now to calculate the income as per income tax provision, we will start seeing the provisions or the requirement which has been given in this profit and loss account or income and expenditure account. So consultation and medical charges is part of PGBP, so we will not do anything. Income tax refund. Principal amount 5,000, interest is 450. Total 5450 has been considered as business income. So what we will do? This is not my business income, so I will reduce this from my net profit value. 5450. It should not be the part of my business. So what we are doing, we have to disallow those income that should not be the part of my business, and we have to disallow those expenditure also. Those do not fall in my business income category. Again, out of this 5,450, the 450 would be the part of income from other source. In examination also, you can write it down in the question. Like 5,000, the principal amount, it does not need to go anywhere. It would be removed from PGBP, but that is not going to be taxed anywhere because that the principal amount we have pay back to the government and government return to it. So that would be the treatment under capital, no treatment under any head of income. But yes, the income part, the extra part is 450. That is interest. That is going to be taxed in income from other source. Again, dividend, that should not be the part of my business. So I will remove this. And where dividend needs to be shown, income from other source. Because in this question, we have to calculate total income. So if you'll write it down, so when you will complete after calculation of your PGBP income, you can see from the credit side where these income need to be taxed. So you will not forget about this, that I have to tax these income also. This is say gross. Gross means no TDS has been deducted on 10,500. So if with any income, the gross word has been utilized. That means it is before TDS. Winning from game show on TV. This is casual income, and you can see it has been written net of TDS of 15,000. So TDS of 15,000 has been deducted from it already. So after TDS, the value is 35,000. So when you will consider this 35,000 as your casual income under income from other source, you have to gross deduct. Matlab, we have to consider it before TDS. So before TDS, it would be 50,000. But under PGBP, we only include 35,000 wrongly. So we have to reduce 35,000 from it. But under income from other source, we have to consider it the gross income of 50,000. Rent is, of course, your income from house property. That is already included wrongly under business head. So this is my credit side has been done. Now the debit side, the first is medical consume. Of course, it's my business expenditure. Staff salary, clinical consumable, rent paid, administrative expenditure, amount paid to Scientific Research Association approved under section 35, 1,50,000. So what should be the treatment? Do I need to disallow it or do I need not to disallow it? Let me see who will give me the answer. Mustafa, said it like you giving us bouncer in every ball. So what I have told you yesterday, Mustafa, in the thought for the day, the more sweat you will in practice, the less you will bleed. Okay, so this is what we are just trying to do. I'm just trying to make you understand what mistakes you can do in the examination. So if you will rectify those mistakes right now, so definitely that would be a very good benefit at the time of examination. $440K net profit. Mohammed Khan is saying, sir, please tell me in Hindi. मोहम्मद देखो हमारा जो लेक्चर है दैट वुड बी ओनली इन इंग्लिश इफ यू हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेरी वो मैं आपको हिंदी में आप पूछोगे तो हिंदी में बता दूंगा बट द मीडियम ऑफ दिस लेक्चर वुड बी इन इंग्लिश एज पर ऑफ कोर्स डायरेक्टेड बाय द BOS ICAI so the lecture cannot be in Hindi. I am so sorry. Okay, let me see what I have asked. Do I get any answer? Okay, Navneet is saying, Dhanlakshmi is saying allowed. Okay, Navneet is saying 150 allowed as approved. Neeraj is saying allowed only in optional tax regime. Correct, Neeraj. If default, then not allowed. Correct, Arun. Harsh is saying under optional, it allowed as deduction. Yes. Adjustment are given in questions. No, not any information has been given regarding this in the question. Because we are under default tax regime and when you must have gone with the provision of PGBP. So you must have gone through that the scientific research payment for Scientific Research Association, whether approved, etc., it is not allowed under default tax regime. It is allowed under optional tax regime, but it would be disallowed under default tax regime when we calculate our profit. So 1,50,000 is going to be add back. So debit credit side has been done. Now let's read. The rent paid includes, this means this, the rent paid includes 30,000 paid by check towards rent for her residential house in Surat. So there is a personal expenditure and the treatment of personal expenditure, they cannot be claimed as deduction under PGBP. So we have to add back this expenditure which has been included in the rent paid of 90,000. Clinical equipments, the clinic equipments value has been given for calculation of depreciation. WDV is 5 lakh rupees. So because opening WDV is 5 lakh, so we will claim the full rate of depreciation in case of this. And that would be at the rate of 15%. It's a kind of plant and machinery. This is acquired on 7th December via check. So it is less than used for 180 days. So the rate would be half value. Clear? If you will solve a question step by step, you can see this kind of question has been already asked in the examination in compulsory question category. And when we are solving, do you find anything difficult till now? Is there anything difficult? If you apply the provision, don't get nervous, don't be panic. Just read the question, apply the provision, and you will see numericals are not that difficult because they have explaining character. Like he's explaining himself. I am scientific research payment. And thus you have to recall the provision that because I am solving default tax regime, that should not be allowed. As you will see, rent received. Now information has been given for rent received. That would be for house property purpose. Value is 27,000. Municipal tax 2,000. So we will consider this for calculation of house property. Skip for the purpose of calculation of PGBP. She also receives salary, though this is salary part. We will consider it when we will take the salary head income. Dr. Niranjana availed a loan of 550 from a bank for higher education. For higher education, there is a deduction under section 80E. So that would be the part of my deduction. Not right now, we have to do nothing with it. She paid 1 lakh as tuition fees. So that is deduction 80C. We'll consider after GTI. An amount of 28,000 has also been paid via check for medical insurance premium, 80D. So you can see we have done with the PGBP provision. So now after all this plus minus, we are able to calculate our PGBP income. So our PGBP would be, and the question says, the municipal tax of 2,000 paid is the part of administrative expenses. So this 2,000 also need to be disallowed. Anything else left? I believe not. 5450. We have considered 27,000 rent. We consider 10,500, 35,000. 150 this disallowed, 30,000 disallowed, 75,000 this disallowed, and 15,000 this, and municipal taxes. So my net profit as per income tax would be now 454,450. This would be my PGBP income. Now we have to calculate our salary income. The salary has been given in point number 4th. She receives 7,500 per month as salary. So total salary would be 90,000. From this 90,000, 75,000 would be standard deduction under default tax regime. So the income would be 15,000 rupees in this. In case of house property, the GAV is 27,000, municipal tax 2,000, 25,000 is annual value, 30% deduction, 7,500. So 17,500 would be my income from house property. No capital gain information. Income from other source we have to calculate now. And income from other source, interest on refund 450. 10,500 dividend, and gross value of casual income 50,000 we have to take. So that would be 60,950. As I have told you in last class also, you can do this all calculation in your working note. But now when you will present that computation of total income of so and so with the heading, the first income you have to take salary. The salary would be shown 15,000. Then you have to consider house property. that would be 17,500. Then your PGBP, which is 454,450. Then your income from other source, 60950. That would be your gross total income. So in the final presentation, you have to follow this scenario. Now your income would be GTI 547 and 900. No deduction will be allowed under default tax regime, which has been under section 80C or 80D. So this would be your total income. 547,900 would be your total income. Understood? Now, when you will solve a question or the part of this question as optional tax regime, when you will solve this under optional tax regime, OTR, then take the GTI always as your income, which has been declared as default tax regime. So that was 547 and 900. Now we have to make adjustment in this GTI to find out the TI as per optional tax regime. So one, we disallowed this. So the effect of this disallowance has to be removed because under optional tax regime, you can have the benefit of this amount paid to scientific research. One more adjustment need to be done, which is regarding salary. We have reduced standard deduction 75,000, but that should be 50,000 in case of optional tax regime. So 25,000 we have deduct extra while calculating income under default tax regime. That needs to be rectified. After that, the other things we have to consider deductions of 80E, that is for higher education interest, that has been given in question, 55,000. 80C deduction, 1 lakh rupees. 80D deduction, you can see deduction details has been over here, 55,000. Interest part you can claim deduction. 1 lakh as tuition fees you can claim deduction, and this is for 80D. So how much out of this 28,000 we can claim as a deduction under section 80D? How much we can claim as a deduction under section 80D? Under section 80D, how much deduction we can claim? We can claim, Navneet is saying 25,000, they are saying 25, Nagaraj is saying 28, 25, 25, Linga is saying 50,000, Navneet is saying 25,000. So because the person which has been given in question is age 60 year. That's why we have marked it. Important thing. So mark thing, whichever you are marking in your question, you have to remember this could affect our answer. And because she's a senior citizen, so full 28,000 can claim as a deduction. If not a citizen, then we can claim only 25,000. So that would be your answer as per optional tax regime. Understood? So I will rate this question out of 10 difficulty. It would be like 6.5, 6 or 6.5. So this is a kind of question because if in this question I add to calculate the tax liability also, then it would be almost 8 range question in case of difficulty for the purpose of examination. And if this question I include one capital gain provision also, or one or two more complicated TDS provision for business income, etc. So that would be a kind of question that will be almost 9 marks category of difficulty out of 10. So this is the kind of question almost having 6.5 category of difficulty, in my opinion, out of 10 for the purpose of examination. Now question number 4. Purvi, age 55 year, is a chartered accountant. In practice, she maintains accounts on cash basis. Her income and expenditure. So whenever you read these kind of points, this is different from normal language. That age is 60 year, cash system basis has been given specifically. This is kind of information generally not mentioned in the question. But if somebody is saying she or he is maintaining cash basis, so there must be something we have to do with this information. So always remember, if there is any different information has been given in the question which is not normal information, so that might going to affect your question or any point of question later. So always keep that things in mind. That's why I am asking you to mark those points, those you feel different or important for the purpose of calculation. Our income expenditure has been given below. We have to see what is the requirement of question. Compute the income tax liability and income most beneficial manner. That means you have to apply the default tax regime. You have to apply as well as optional tax regime. And maybe if AMT apply, then you have to see the AMT also. Only in that situation you would be able to calculate the tax as per most beneficial manner. Now I would rate this question almost 8.5 rating out of 10 in comparison to the difficulty level. You will see that there are information has been given, multiple information has been given. There are other income also going to be included in this case. And there is calculation, twice calculation of income, twice calculation of tax. And maybe AMT is also going to be applicable. Deductions also in this question, etc. So I will rate it more 8.5 out of 10 at least. So we are not solving easy question. Let me tell you, in your test your knowledge question categories, generally questions are not easy. All questions are rated at least 6 or 6 plus. And starting questions are easy like 1 and 2. But as soon as you will solve test your knowledge question 4, 5, 6, 7, so it will be automatically going to be the higher rating. When you see the question number, let me tell you, there's a very interesting question I solved yesterday. It was question number, I believe, 13, 12 and 13. They were very interesting question. And I guess personally, I believe question number 13 was very, very, very interesting. So, okay, question number 4 we are discussing. Again, because first of all, we have to calculate PGBP in our working note. But when we include those income, there would be the specific structure. You have to take the salary first, then house property, then PGBP, then capital gain, then income from other source. So net profit has been given in the question 928224. Always solve from the income side. Audit, taxation, consultancy would be my, of course, business, dividend, gross. So this would be the part of my income from other source. This is going to be reduced from my business. UTI, income from other source, gross. Honorarium received from various institution for valuation of answer paper, income from other source. Rent received from residential let out, that would be income from house property. So this is easy to solve these kind of information from your credit side. So 10, 5 to 4, 10, 5 to 4 we have to reduce. Then we have 7,600. Then we have 15,000, 1,800. Then we have rent 85,600. So you can see credit side has been done. Now coming on to the debit provision. Salary to staff, okay. Stipend, okay. Incentive to article, okay. Office rent, okay. Printing and stationery, okay. Meeting, seminar, conferences. Purchase of car for official use. So, car depreciation or expenses we can claim. Purchase of car is a capital expenditure. That should not be the part of calculation of my profit. So, that is going to be add back. Repair and maintenance of petrol car, it's okay. Traveling expenditure is okay. Municipal tax paid in respect of house property, not okay. So this 3,000 plus purchase of car value 80,000 needs to be added back. So P&L debit credit side has been sorted. Now on allowable rate of depreciation is on motor car is 15%. So we have to calculate the motor car 15% depreciation, which has been given. Depreciation on this 80,000, 12,000 rupees would be your depreciation. Value of benefit received from clients during the course of profession is 10,500. So what do we need to do with this information? Benefit received from client should be the part of my income or should not be the part of my income? What is your opinion, students? It should be the part of income because it is for business expenditure. So that's why it should become the part of your income. So 10,500 rupees needs to be added back. This is done. This is done. Incentive to articles represent amount paid to two articles for passing CA. Of course, allowed, not an issue. Repair and maintenance of car include 2,000 for the period from 1st October till 30th September 2026. So our previous year is from 1st April 25 till 31st March 26. And there are expenditure of 2,000, which has been from 1st October till 30th September. So out of this 2,000, October, November, December, January, February, March. That means 6 months related to my previous year and 6 months related to next year expenditure. So what should be the treatment? Should we claim only 1,000 and 1,000 should be disallowed, or we can claim full 2,000 because this 2,000 has been included in repair and maintenance of car. Repair and maintenance of car, 4,000 has been given in question. So if this is 6 months should be considered over here, then we have to disallow 1,000 rupees. Else we do not need to do anything. So what is your opinion, students, on this point? Navneet is saying 6 months. Arun Sagar saying not allowed fully. Navneet is saying 1,000 add back. Arun Sagar saying 1,000 allowed. Neeraj saying current year allowed, 1,000 disallowed. Just let me know allowed thus or disallowed. If anything disallowed, then you can write it down 1,000 disallowed. Diya is saying 1,000 should claim. Jayendra is saying 2,000. Mustafa is saying, okay, 1,000. Shraddha is saying allowed, 2,000 allowed. As per Shamli is saying 1,000 allowed, 1,000 allowed. Now, again, that's why we have discussed this point, cash basis. Because she's maintaining account on cash basis, that means under cash basis system, whatever you pay or whatever you receive in the previous year, whether it is related to preceding year or whether it is related to future years, that needs to be the part of my previous year. Because cash system is being followed, so it does not make any sense whether this 2,000 cover 6 months of current year or 6 months of next year. It does not make a difference. Even if it covers next 4-year payment, still that would be allowed in the year in which it has been paid. So, of course, you are a commerce student, all of you, and you must be going through the provision of accountancy. So, you understand that cash system says it does not matter to which year that expenditure or income pertains. The year you received it or the year in which you have incurred it would be the year in which you can claim it. So that's why there would not be any treatment of this 2000 because we have already considered this 2000 under repair and maintenance. Understood? So these kind of points are very important. And let me tell you, you can mark these kind points for an examination purpose. So when you will revise this question again, so you know this point was very tricky. I mistaken this point. So you do not need to revise the full question again. Only these kinds of point which was easy or sorry, which were tricky or difficult, you can mark it right now. And at the time of revision, that will save your time. Understood? Chalo. Next is salary includes 30,000 to a computer specialist in cash for assisting Purvi in one professional assignment. I believe you all have remembered that we cannot payment more than 10,000 in cash for a same person in a single day. If it has been more than 10,000, the full amount is going to be disallowed. So this 30,000 is going to be disallowed. Navneet, it's not 20K, full amount going to be disallowed. So if exceeding 10,000, then full value is going to be disallowed. Okay. Next is the traveling expenditure incurred on foreign tour of 32,000, which was within RBI permission. So if something is within RBI permission, need not to bother. Medical insurance premium on the health of dependent brother and major son dependent or amounts to 5,000 and 10,000 paid in cash. So we are following default tax regime right now. So no deductions of 80D expenditure. So this we will consider when we will going to solve this part as per optional tax regime. This is again 80C investment part, not need to discuss right now. So we have done with PGBP. So after doing all this, my PGBP would be 920,200. My income from other source would be 33,924. My house property income would be 85,600, then municipal tax, then 30%, it would be 57,820. So my GTI would be, in this case, 10,11,944. And if we will say what is my TI, then it would be rounded off 10,11,940. I hope it's clear. What would be the tax liability? Because we have to calculate the tax also. And you can see, because TI does not exceed 12 lakh rupees. So of course, the tax would be nil in this case, because there is no special rate of income included. So whatever would be the tax on 10,11,940, you can claim the rebate on it. So the tax liability would be in this situation under default tax regime would be nil. Now, if we will calculate this scenario or the income in this scenario under optional tax regime. So we will take the GTI, which would be 10,11944. Then we have to provide some deductions. You can see 80D deduction, which was regarding medical insurance, cannot be provided in optional tax regime also because the payment has been made in cash. And dependent brother and major son dependent on her would not also be the part. So payment has been made in cash. Dependent brother does not fall in the definition. So due to this, 80D would not be applicable. He can only claim 80C deduction for investment in NSC. That would be 10,000. So this would be 1001944. rounded off to 1001940. The tax on this would be 113082. Cess would be 4523. Total tax would be 117605, rounded off to 117610. And if you'll calculate the ATI in this question, if AMT is applicable, ATI would be less than 20 lakh. So AMT is not applicable in this question. And I believe you need to calculate the AMT when it has been specifically asked in question. So if question does not ask you to calculate AMT, then I believe you should not calculate the AMT. More clarification, I guess I will ask from the BOS. They will give you the hint that whether AMT need to be calculated suo moto or it needs to be calculated only when in the question it has been asked. Because there is question number 14 in your test your knowledge question. And only in that question, it has been specifically asked you to calculate the AMT. So I believe AMT calculation needs to be done when it has been specifically asked in the question. The clarification, you can send a mail to the BOS. They will definitely going to guide you. So that was the case, and most beneficial in this case would be, of course, default tax regime would be most beneficial. Because in a default tax regime, you do not need to pay any tax. Navneet is saying, agar income more than 20 lakh, then we can try AMT. But of course, as I've asked you, you can ask to the BOS, or when you will have revision class also, then definitely I would be there for revision also. And I will give you answer of this question that either AMT needs to be calculated automatically if the ATI exceeding 20 lakh or not. Okay. So you can see we just solved a question which would have a rating at least in case of difficulty 8.5. And I believe when you solve it with provisions, with patience, do not get nervous or panic. You will be able to solve this question easily. The pressure of examination that actually make us to do mistakes, silly mistakes. A question which maybe you are not able to solve in examination would be a question what you can solve easily when you are at home and relax. It's just a pressure you have to handle. You have to understand that you have to observe, you have to feel that pressure and you have to take it. If you will be in tension, if you will be in nervousness, maybe you won't be able to solve those questions, those you can solve at your home when you are relaxed. So just try to absorb that pressure and nervousness. Be confident. Believe in yourself that you have prepared well. You have worked really hard. You have done a lot of practice. So whatever kind of question would be there, you would be able to solve it. Mustafa is saying, which type of notes and working we have to do? Can you go, I answer and show us, sir? Look, you can see the solution pattern of your study material illustration and test your knowledge question. You have to work like that. You have to show working notes, but not in that much detail. In the solution of study material and in the solution of your test knowledge questions, they actually give you a very detailed explanation because every student can understand what exactly they are doing. But you need not to do that kind of detailed calculation with section, with every explanation. No. If it is enough that you are doing the working note, you are doing the calculation and you are showing the provision. So there is no requirement of explaining the provision. Like in suppose, for the purpose of this disallowance we have made, a payment has been made, and if it is exceeding 10,000 rupees, so you can just write it down disallowed because payment exceeding 10,000. It would be enough. You do not need to explain in detail because payment has been made to the same person on the same day exceeding 10,000. That's why the excess amount needs to be disallowed. So in study material, they have shown like this because they want you to understand, every student should understand the detailed provision over there also. But suppose if it is a gross case, like in the question number 2, there was a case of winning from game show, which is net of TDS. So you will, when you will consider income from other source, then you will consider full 50,000 and you can just write it down gross before TDS 50,000. You need not to explain because the question has been said that it is net, so we have to gross up and we have to add back. Just write it down, income from other source, gross winning, 50,000. That would be enough in working note. Okay, so you can see the pattern you should understand from the study material solution. That's first of all, we have to show the salary. Then we have to show the house property. What is the heading? There should be computation of capital gain for assessment year, so and so. So that you should learn from the study. But the working note, they have explained in very much detail for your benefit. But for the purpose of examination, you can solve it by yourself in simple way. Like as I am doing. What I'm doing, I'm writing down and I'm just adding back the thing. So for this 5450, you can write it down just the income tax refund. That's it. Need not to explain why I am reducing it. Dividend, you can write it down just dividend. You can write it down winning from lottery. You can add back if something you are adding back, like this one. So amount of expenditure. So if you are adding it back, the institute knows that you know it is disallowed. So do not go for very much detail. And again, there would be revision class, and revision class is for only this purpose, how to present your question, etc. In those classes, we will discuss a lot of things, which is including the question solution process, how to manage your work, how to revise during examination. So institute is thinking about everything, whatever you are concerned of. They are providing you lectures. They are providing you actually free lectures. This is the kind of work which our institute is only doing. I do not believe in our country any other institution providing free lectures to their students. Our students just providing it without charging a single penny. They are providing you notes, study material, everything. So this is a kind of effort you can't imagine how difficult it has to be done. How much effort institute coordinators, technicians, faculties are doing just for your benefit. That nobody will stop studying without guidance. So you have free guidance and they will start providing you MTP, mock tests are there, and there would be revision classes also. So it's a great effort. I do believe this is amazing what institute is doing for you. Okay. 14 मार्क्स का होना चाहिए. ओके 15 का आता है फर्स्ट कंपलसरी क्वेश्चन. करेक्ट. Salary question is compulsory in first question. What can be the weightage of this question? Saipa is asking. And if there are one or more to mistake in answer, how many marks can we get? It depends what kind of mistake you have done. Okay. So do not think about the result. The problem is this: we start taking pressure when we start thinking about the result, not about the process of working hard. So just think about till the examination process, that how I will give my examination, how the marking would be there, how what would be there if I'll do one or two or three mistakes, that even I don't know how this the result process will go, how this checking will be done. That is not in your control, not even in my control. So whatever is your control, practice better, give your examination with your best. That's it. Quoting section compulsory? No, it is not compulsory at all. But if you are quoting any section, that can upgrade your marks. And if you are, but do not quote wrong section. So if you are confused, do not give wrong sections. Nagaraj Singh sir, income from house property not given FR, standard rent, write down note. Not required. You can directly calculate GAV. You can see in the solution of these questions also. If there is income from house property, rent has been given, no other information, you can directly consider it as a GAV. Okay. So moving ahead, question number 4 we have discussed. So I guess this is now time for a break, I believe. So Mr. Ashok, can we go for a short break of 10 minutes? Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I believe you must have your coffee, tea, etc. So let's back to the work. Let me see the query. Harsh is saying she is in cash basis, so that's why repair and maintenance charges we ignore. What if she is not in cash basis? If she is not in cash basis, then we need to consider only for expenditure, which is till the end of the previous year. So in that case, 1000 could be disallowed. Okay, anything else? No more queries. Moving on to the provisions. Question number 5. Five is technically easy. I just wanted to solve those kind of question. Question number 6. Now, question number 6, you will see it's very simple and compact. You can see it just like 5 or 6 or 7 points question. But when I solved this question, I felt that is very, very interesting for the purpose of examination. And you will learn a lot of things when we will solve this question. So this is just for the calculation of tax liability, and set of provisions also included in this question. So we are skipping question number 5. You can do it your own. It's not that difficult, but question number 6 definitely is going to trouble you. So that's why I'm going to solve question number 6 with you. So Balmurugan furnished the following information for the year ended on 31st March 26. It has given income from textile business, which is a loss, of course. Income from house property, again loss. Lottery winning, gross value has been given. Speculation business income has been given. Income by way of salary computed. So if the word computed has been mentioned anywhere, that means you do not need to do anything out of this. That means it has been calculated after standard deduction, etc. Okay. Long-term capital gain under section 112 has been given in the question, and you can see the question is asking compute his total income, tax liability, and advance tax obligation under only default tax regime as section 115 BAC. So I believe most of you, if you see this question, you all will think that this is very easy, should be very easy to solve this question. But it is a lot of thing to understand in this single question. Nagaraj is saying, sir, premium paid health of major son, it is not deductible because the payment has been made in cash. Section 80D says that the payment should be via account, pay, check, etc. It should not be in cash. That's why it was disallowed. Let's solve this question over here. I will write it down the information of that question so you would be able to understand that question. So question number 6. And if the main information, I will write it down. Income from textile business. That has been given in question. It's a loss, 1,35,000. Income from house property. That has been given in question. Loss is 15,000. Lottery winning. And it has been gross lottery winning. That means 5 lakh rupees. Speculation business income. Which has been given 1 lakh rupees profit. Salary income computed 3,70,000, and long-term capital gain under section 112 is 70,000 has been given in question. And you are required to calculate the total income, the tax liability, advance tax under default tax regime. So now we need to solve this question. And because losses has been given, so we have to apply the set of provision first to find out the GTI and TI. So for set of concept, I always recommend to solve this question in horizontal form. You have to write it down the PGBP losses separately. Then you can take it capital gain losses income information. Then income from house property losses income information. Then salary. And then other sources. So whatever information has been given regarding the loss or income, you should put it. If there's a losses, then you should put it in this format. So it would be easy for you to solve this question or set off of losses. Under PGBP, there could be three type of losses. Speculative business losses, 35 AD business losses, because we are following default tax regime. So this would not be there. So, but I am making the full diagram. So you would be able to solve set of provision in this diagram. And all other would be other business or profession. Capital gain would be two type, long-term losses or income or short-term losses or income. Income from house property, single, salary, no losses. Other sources, casual income, we have to show separately. Owning and maintaining race horses, income or losses, and others. So I generally bifurcate my set of question to find out whether loss is going to be treated in which head in this way. So now if you make this format, then that would be really easy to apply the set of provision. As soon as you will put in the information which is given in the question, you will get the answer automatically. Let's see how it works. So income from textile business is 1,35,000. So I do need to write it down over this. So this would be always use a sign of loss and profit. 1,35,000. Income from house property is 15,000 loss. But under default tax regime, we cannot set off house property loss from any other income. So that is not relevant for us. Lottery income would be part of my casual income. Speculation business, that would be the part of my speculation business income. Salary computed is 3,70,000. And long term under section 112 is 70,000 rupees. So you can see, I just write it down the information which has been given in the question above in this format. That's it. I did not do anything else. I just write it down the information which has been mentioned in the question in this format. And now you can see we have to apply the, first of all, intra-head provision. So as per intra-head, can we set off our business loss of textile business from speculative business profit or not? Is this allowed or not, students? Neeraj is saying no. Neeraj is saying speculative can be set off with speculative. Okay. Linga is saying no. Anyone else? Dhanlakshmi is saying yes. Okay. More answer I need from you. Saipa is saying yes. Achitya is saying allowed. Jayendra is saying allowed. Shraddha is saying no. Shamli is saying yes, sir. Other business losses can be set off. Exactly correct. So other business losses can be set off from the speculative business income. Speculative business losses cannot be set off from other business, but other business losses can be set off from speculative business income. So this intra-head is allowed. So after adjusting of this, I will left with 35,000 loss from PGBP after applying intra-head provision. No intra-head in capital gain because there is no loss. House property loss, not relevant. No other loss in this category. So after intra-head, I will left with this loss. this would be my income after intrahead. From capital gain, this would be my income from salary, and this would be my income as per casual after intrahead. What is the second step after intrahead set off? Intrahead is first one. What is the second step we have to take after adjusting losses as per intrahead? Correct. The second is interhead. This is the most easiest way to set off losses provision to be solved. Because if you try to solve set of provision vertically, as explained in some questions, that would be really difficult to know from which losses now we can set off our losses. But if you make this diagram like this vertical instead of vertically, if you try to solve horizontally, you will be absolutely clear that which loss now I can set off against which income. So you can see there is a loss left in PGBP. So can PGBP losses be set off from capital gain long term or not? Or it can set off from salary head, or this loss could be set off from casual income. Neeraj is saying, no, you can use this horizontal as for final working also. This is not a diagram. We are just solving it. Instead of vertically, we are solving it horizontally. This is not diagram. This is proper. You have to follow this proper interhead set off, and you have to mention the note regarding this. Like I have just set off, you have to write it down that other business losses can be set off from speculative. So we are setting off other business losses from speculative business. So business losses cannot be set off from salary head. Business losses cannot be set off from casual income, but yes, business losses can be set off from capital gain. So definitely after setting it off, after interhead, now we will left with 35,000 long-term capital gain, salary income 370 will remain, and casual income 5 lakh remain. So now you will find out our GTI also. So my GTI would be now 9 lakh 5,000 rupees. Clear? Now you have your GTI, and this would be automatically your TI because there is no deduction. So in this example, your GTI TI is same. So my TI is 9 lakh 5,000 rupees. So that means now can I claim rebate or not for the purpose of calculation? Now that's a very interesting question. Now for the purpose of tax calculation also, I always refer to divide your GTI in this format. You have specific rates of income for tax calculation, like casual income tax rate is 30%. So you can mention that separate. You have long-term capital gain under section 112A separate rate of income. You have short-term capital gain under section 111A have separate rate of tax. You have long-term capital gain 112 having separate rate, and others would be the part of this. Other means other than these four income. Those are slab rate income. Salary would be the part of this other. This other does not mean other sources. This is salary plus interest income, plus business income, plus house property. All other would be technically balance income would be there. So because these are having a special rate of income, so all other would be the part of other. So out of this 9 lakh 5,000, now I will bifurcate. I will separate the income which is having separate rates, including in the above category. So you can see its long term is the part of this GTI 35,000. So I have to put it down over here. 35,000 would be my long term. And the rate on this long term would be 12.5%. Clear? Then I have casual income in this 9,05,000 that would form part of this income part. 5 lakh rupees, my casual income. And the balance left is 3,70,000 would be the part of salary income, would be the part of balance income. Now I need to calculate tax under default tax regime. So what is the basic exemption limit in case of default tax regime? Nagaraj is saying 4 lakh. Exactly. The basic exemption limit under default tax regime is 4 lakh rupees. And I have to give benefit of this 4 lakh from these income. And the process of giving the benefit of basic exemption limit starting from this other income always. So this is first, you have to give the benefit of 4 lakh first of all from your basic, your other balance income. You cannot give the benefit from casual income. You cannot give the benefit from long term first. You have to follow this rule. Even basic exemption limit benefit, you cannot even claim from casual income. So out of this 4 lakh rupees benefit, 3,70,000 basic exemption limit benefit would be utilized by the other income category. So my other income now left with zero. I do not have any other income left, which is could be taxable. And out of this 4 lakh, I have utilized 3,70,000 from this salary income. So the balance exemption limit of basic is left with 30,000 rupees. And this 30,000 can be utilized from long-term capital gain under section 112. So the remaining long-term capital gain taxable would be 5,000 rupees. This is my taxable. So now I have to apply the tax rate on this value, and that would be at the rate of 12.5% tax and 30% on this. So the tax of this casual income would be 1,50,000 and the tax on this 5,000 would be 625 rupees. So my total tax would be 150,625. Now the very important question arises, which I am going to ask to all of you about the rebate. Whether rebate would be allowed or not. If yes, how much rebate we can claim out of this 1,50,625. Again, explain, sir, about tax liability of capital gain. What do I need to explain about the tax liability? You have left with 35,000 of long-term capital gain. The balance of basic exemption limit of 4 lakh. The balance left 30,000 benefit. That 30,000 we have claimed from long-term capital gain, Mr. Nagaraja. Balance is 5,000. The tax rate on this long-term cap gain is 12.5% and that would have been discussed in capital gain chapter. So that's why, because I'm not able to calculate, I'm not able to explain the rates of tax in case of capital gain, etc. Because I believe you must have gone through under capital gain chapter. That's why I have asked to all of you, please revise the capital gain and PGBP. So 12.5% would be the applicable rate. Neeraj is saying, sir, can't we combine them in total income and then after apply basic exemption limit? No, because in that case, when you have income left with 5,000, how you will find it out whether should I apply 5,000 rupees as per slab rate or as per 12.5% rate? And it has been mentioned clearly that the basic exemption limit should be utilized firstly from the balance of income except the special rate of income category. Neeraj is saying yes, 60,000 rebate. Jainder is saying 60,000 rebate. Harsh is saying under section 87A, if total income less than 12 lakh or up to 12 lakh, rebate 60K or amount of tax, whichever is lower. Anyone else? Mustafa is saying yes, rebate allowed because our total income is only 9,05,000. It is less than 12 lakh. Nagaraj is saying no. Aditya is saying 60K. Any more answers? Dhanlakshmi is saying more than 10 lakh, 60 year rebate formula apply. Shraddha is saying 60,000. So the correct answer is this. Mustafa is saying it is allowed on only on 370K, I guess. The correct answer is this. Rebate is not applicable in this case. Now you have to find out why. The correct answer, rebate would not be applicable in this case. This is the correct answer. Okay. Now you have to tell me why. I believe you must have gone through with this condition or case under capital gain topic. It has been mentioned, I believe, or the basic concept topic, but rebate is not applicable in this case. Yes, I know it is in capital gain topic. It has been written specifically that rebate is not applicable. Why? Because rebate has been under default tax regime. Let me tell you, under default tax regime, it has been mentioned that you cannot claim rebate against a special rate of income. Any income which is taxed at a special rate. Special means other than slab rate. So if there is any income which is going to be taxed at a special rate of income tax, against that, you cannot claim rebate under section 87A. So now you can see we have tax on this special rate of income, and this is also a special rate of income. If that income is going to be taxed, against that tax, you can claim the rebate. But if there is any specific rate of income, in that situation, you cannot claim rebate under default tax regime. Under optional tax regime, it is allowed. But under default tax regime, it is not allowed. So there would not be any rebate. Why? Because this tax is on a special rate of income tax. Now 4% cess. You will learn a lot from this question. Question number 6.
Recording stopped.
Recording stop. So you can see from this question, you can learn a lot of things, that rebate is applicable or not, how to set off losses. Then you can see how to give the basic exemption, limit exemption. That's what I was saying, that this question is very, very important. So now we have to apply the cess. This would be 6025. The total tax would be 15665.
Recording in progress.
We have not done yet. Still something needs to be done. And that is because when there is casual income has been given, so we have to assume that TDS must have been deducted automatically. When there is any income which has been given in the question on which TDS liability is there, in that situation, you have to assume that TDS must have been deducted automatically. So on casual income, what is the TDS rate, students? So my tax liability is 1,56,650. And I have to assume that TDS must have been deducted out of those income which has been given in the question on which TDS liability is there. So the rate is 30%. Exactly correct, Shamli. Correct, Nagarj. It's 30%. So that means I have already paid 1,50,000, or the 1,50,000 has been deducted from my casual income already. So TDS need to be reduced. So the remaining tax liability would be now 6650. So the question was asking, what is my total income? We have calculated it. What is my total tax liability? We have calculated it. One more thing was required in the question, the advance tax liability. And now you can see, because the net tax liability after TDS is less than 10,000. And if your tax liability is less than 10,000, estimated tax liability is less than 10,000, then there is no advance tax concept applicable. If this is more than 10,000, then we have to show that 15% of that amount should have been deposited up to 15th of June, then 45% up to 15th of September, then 15 December, we have to deposit 75%, and on 15th of March, we have to deposit the 100% of the value. So in this case, advance tax provision would not be applicable because the net tax liability, the remaining tax liability, the estimated tax liability is not 10,000 or more. It is less than this. So you have seen, I believe, a very compact question, but having multiple provision to understand a lot of things. So this is a very, very important question. You can mark it. That for the purpose of understanding the basic exemption limit, the rebate concept, the advance tax concept, the calculation of set of provision, this question is very beautifully drafted. Moving on. That was question number 6. Now question number 7. There was a question number I was discussing with you. I told you it's a very interesting question. That was question number 2. First of all, let's do question number 14, because in the question number 14, there is AMT provisions are applicable. So other questions are not that different from normal question. Like question 7, 8, it's just like the question we have already discussed. So if we will have time, we will solve it. Otherwise, you can solve it. And of course, there would not be any issue. If there would be any issue, we will discuss those questions again at the revision time. So question number 14 is a different question because you will be asked to calculate AMT also in this question. So that's why I want to discuss this question. So you will have an idea how to calculate AMT, what is the credit, etc. The question says, first of all, the requirement of question, and you can see in this question, they are specifically asking you. So I believe that if the examiner wants the calculation of AMT, so they might give you that specifically in the question that you needs to calculate AMT also in this question. Compute income tax including AMT under section 115 JC. Liability of Mr. X, both as per 115 BAC, as per regular provision of the Act. Advise X whether he should pay tax under default tax regime or as per normal tax regime. So because question specifically mentioned, so we have to apply AMT provision also. So let's do that. First of all, reading of question is very important. Mr. X, an individual, set up a unit in a special economic zone. So when in question, if there is special economic zone, that means what? Is there any specific benefit we can claim in respect of a special economic zone? Is there any provision we have to keep in mind when we are solving this question? Sir, after this, can you explain unexhausted basic exemption limit? Neeraj, unexhausted basic exemption limit means the remaining part of the basic exemption limit. So in the question number 6, the 3,70,000 was the salary income. And we have 4 lakh rupees basic exemption limit. After utilizing the basic exemption limit from the slab rate income, which is balancing income or other income, we have taken 370. The remaining is called unexhausted basic exemption limit. Then that can utilize from other category of income. So 30,000 was the unexhausted basic exemption limit. We utilize that against capital gain income. Okay. Neeraj, I have explained to you what is the meaning of basic exemption limit. Okay. Unused portion. Yes, Neeraj, correct. Section 10AA, deduction. It is deduction. Okay, not exemption, it's deduction. The section 10AA deduction would be there. Applicability of section 10AA deduction. So 10AA deduction needs to be applicable. Maybe in this question, in the financial year 90-20, the production has been started. So does this year having any impact on my solution? You must have gone through with the provision of section 10AA. So why this year is relevant? Because my previous year is 25-26. So what this 19-20 has relevant impact on my question? Is there any impact of this year? Or I should skip this information in the question? Because we need to solve question as per assessment year 26-27. So does this production year has any impact on the solution of my question, students? Neeraj is saying no. Anyone else? Look, the answer is yes. There is some impact of this information in the calculation of section 10AA, of course. That's why the information has been given there. Just tell me what is the impact of this, because the correct answer is yes. There would be some impact from the information given in case of special economic zone question from the year of production or starting. What is the impact? Let's see. Any answer? Tax holiday. What tax holiday? That's what I am asking Mr. Linga or Rivansh. What is the impact? Not allowed due to preceding year? No, not right answer. When you have gone through with section 10AA, it says for first 5 year, the benefit is 100%. And for next 5 year, the benefit is 50%. And for next 5 year, the benefit of 50%, but upon certain condition fulfillment. So because 5 year of starting have been passed on, we are in 25-26, so that means we are on this part of the exemption. So we can claim section 10AA 50% advantage in this case. So that's why when there is section 10AA, please find it out the year of production. If suppose the year of production has been mentioned 23-24, then we need to take 100% of the benefit of the section 10AA deduction. So because we have already passed 5 years from this date, so the benefit would be 50%. Yes, I have told you at the time of AMT. The unit fulfill all the condition of section 10AA of the Income Tax Act. Good to know. During the financial year 24-25, he has also set up a warehousing facility. Is there any special provision for a warehousing facility in our income tax in respect of business? Yes, Neeraj has been answer corrected. Section 35 AD. Section 35 AD would be there. In a district of Tamil Nadu for storage of agricultural produce, is there any special provision for Tamil Nadu state? This state specifically given. So is there any specific? No. So it does not mean that every information specific would have some provision, but this is sure. If you have gone through with the provision, you would automatically click that warehousing facility, yes, 35 AD. The special economic zone, 10AA. Tamil Nadu, no as such provision has been given. So even if your companion who is next sitting to you in the examination hall, and if might be he is saying, no, Tamil Nadu having a special benefit, it will give you 150% reduction. So do not trust on those things. Believe in yourself. That's it. For storage of agricultural produce, it fulfill all the conditions of section 35. Look, it has already mentioned. Capital expenditure in respect of warehouse amount to 75 lakh, including cost of land. So 35 AD says that we cannot claim the benefit on land. So only 65 lakh would be eligible for the deduction under section 35 AD or for depreciation, whatever reason it is. The warehouse become operational with effect from our previous year, 1st April, and the expenditure of 75 lakh was capitalized in the books on that date. So from the initial paragraph, you have seen that you have information section 10AA, that there would be a exemption applicable, which is to section 10AA. And there would be 35 AD also applicable in this question. Now the information regarding profit, turnover, etc. has been mentioned. That profit of unit is 40 lakh, export turnover 80 lakh, domestic sale 20 lakh, profit from 35 AD businesses 1 crore 5 lakh. So we have to calculate now income and tax under default tax regime, optional tax regime, and also AMT if applicable. So default tax regime. So we have technically two business. First business was a special economic zone. So a special economic zone net profit has been given in question 40 lakh rupees. And as you all know, under default tax regime, section 10AA benefit is not there. So there is no deduction would be allowed, and this would be the profit 40 lakh rupees under default tax regime. The second business is section warehousing facility business. And the profit has been given in the question 1 crore 5 lakh rupees. Again, we know that section 35 AD not applicable in case of default tax regime. Clear? But yes, we can claim the deduction of depreciation in this case on the building, which was 75 lakh capitalized, but out of that 10 lakh was for land. So on 65 lakh rupees building value, we can claim the depreciation of 6 lakh 50,000 rupees. So the profit from this business would be 98 lakh 50,000. There is no other income except these two business income, this and this. So my total profit or total income would be directly 13850,000. Now we have to calculate the tax on it as per slab rate. That would be 37,350,000. Surcharge would be 15% in this case because income exceeding 1 crore rupees. That would be 560,250. The tax with surcharge 429,5250. The cess would be 4%. That is 171810. So my total taxes under default tax regime will be 44,670,60. So total income is this and total tax would be this 44,670,60. Now we have to calculate income under optional tax regime. Under normal provision, we have to calculate tax as per optional tax regime. So we will again recalculate the income because of section 10AA and 35 AD. We need to recalculate the deduction and income again. So special economic zone net profit, if you'll see, it was 40 lakh. Now we have to give section 10AA deduction, which would be 50% of. The formula is net profit into ET upon TT. Export turnover divided by total turnover. So 50% of the profit has been given 40 lakh. Export turnover has been given in the question is 80 lakh. And the total turnover is 100 lakh. So if you'll calculate this, this would come 16 lakh rupees. The section 10AA deduction would be 16 lakh rupees. So my net profit from SCZ business in this scenario would be 24 lakh rupees, which was 40 lakh in case of default tax regime. Now, section 35 AD business, warehousing. The warehousing business net profit was 1 crore 5 lakh rupees. Now we can claim deduction less of full 65 lakh rupees, 100% deduction is allowed under section 35. So my business income from this activity would be 40 lakh, which was 98 lakh 50,000 under default tax regime. So this would be 40 lakh rupees. Now if you will see, my total income is 64 lakh rupees under optional tax regime. And when you will calculate tax on this as per slab rate, it would be 1,732,500. Surcharge would be 10% as my total income is less than 1 crore but exceeding 50 lakh rupees. So that would be 1,732,500. Total tax would be 190,5750. Now cess would be 4% on this value. That would be 76230. My final tax under this regime would be 1981980. So the tax was 44 lakh and now the tax is 19,81,980. So you can see, as per default tax regime, this is actually because of without deduction. So it is like a net profit as per accounting. So if you want to understand the AMT provision, so because there was no deduction allowed, so you need to pay 44 lakh rupees tax. But because of this deduction, now you need to only pay almost 20 lakh rupees tax. That's why AMT is here. Now we have to see the AMT applicability in this example. Now for AMT purpose, we have to calculate the ATI. This is the case of, I guess, individual case. So if ATI exceeding, this is a case of individual, yes. So if ATI exceeding 20 lakh, only in that situation, the provision of AMT would be applicable. So we will take total income as per normal provision of income tax to find out the AMT, and that would be 64 lakh. Now for the purpose of calculation, we have to disallow or take the benefit of section 10AA deduction. How much was the section 10AA deduction? It was 16 lakh. So I have to add back 16 lakh rupees as section 10AA, and 35 AD benefit also need not to be given in this case. So 35 AD benefit of 65 lakh rupees we have to add back. And I believe you must have remembered that in case of 35 AD, if you will take the benefit, you can claim the depreciation. So 10% of this we can claim as depreciation. There is no other deduction, etc. is applicable in this case. So my adjusted total income would be 138,500,000. And you can see it is same like this. This is kind of a net profit as per accounting provision. So my ATI is exceeding 20 lakh rupees. And because it's exceeding 20 lakh rupees, so AMT needs to be calculated. And it would be 18.5%. So my tax, AMT tax would be 256,250. Surcharge would be 15% because my total income exceeding 1 crore. So that would be 384,338. Then it is 294,658. Then 4% cess is to be applied, 117863. And after that, my AMT tax would be 3064451, which need to be rounded off into 3064450. So now we have three taxes. One is this tax. You can say tax 1. This is my tax 2. And this is my tax 3. Now we have to find out which is most beneficial to the assessee. So for the purpose of that, I have already discussed in the first session of this chapter that if the most beneficial you need to find out. Then you have to take the tax 1, which is as per default tax regime, which is 4467,060. Then you have to take tax as per regular provision, in which optional tax regime, tax 2, which is 1981980, and the AMT tax, which is 3064450. So out of these two, we have to take the higher. We have to take the higher out of these two for the purpose of calculation. So higher of these two would be 3064450, which is AMT, of course. So tax 3 is higher. Now for the purpose of final tax liability. Now for the purpose of final tax liability, we have to compare tax 1 with the higher value of tax, which has been found out. And out of these two, lower would be your final tax liability. The final tax liability would be AMT tax. You can see 3064450. This is lower. So this would be your final tax liability. And now, very interesting fact. If AMT becomes your final tax liability, and if the question asks you, now tell what is the total income should be. So the tax liability upon AMT tax. So the ATI would be your your total income. So now ATI, adjusted total income, will be considered as your total income for the question. So that would be 1385000. This would be called your total income. And because we have to pay tax as per AMT provision, so now there would be AMT credit could also be asked in the question. And AMT credit would be always AMT tax less optional tax regime tax. So AMT tax is 3064450 and optional tax regime tax was this 1981980. So this is the AMT credit 1082470. This is your AMT credit which you can utilize in next 15 years of tax. When you can utilize it, how you can utilize it, how much you can utilize it, that we have discussed in the last session of AMT already. So this is it. This is the solution of question number 14. And this I would rate 8.5 again. 8.5 or 9. Because in this case, you can see we have to solve 3 kinds of total income. You have to be very particular about this deductions of 35, 80 and depreciation. So there could be messed up in the examination. So have to be very patient, very calm, and then apply the provision. Then the 3 tax calculation you have to done. Then you have to find out the most beneficial of it. So this is a kind of question we can say that yes, that could be asked in the examination. And it is different from the question we have discussed yet. Okay, got it. Other question, students, you can try yourself because multiple questions are there. We have solved almost 6-7 questions, and those questions has taken almost 2.5 hours for our solution part. You can try other questions also. If there would be any issue, we will meet again soon before your revision class, at the time of your revision class, of course, before your examination. So if you want to ask any query, kindly ask me. Nagar just saying, sir, optional regime tax before surcharge 1582500. Yes, what is the issue in this? 158? No, tax would be 1732500. Tax on 64 lakh, you have to calculate. Under optional tax regime, 64 lakh. It would be 1732500. How it would be 1582500? Nagarja, look, it is 64 lakh. Up to 10 lakh rupees, the tax under optional tax regime would be 1,12,500. So balance 54 lakh is liable to tax at the rate of 30%. So that would be 1732500. What confusion it is? I guess it is easy. Let me help you. This 64 lakh. Now you have to calculate tax on this up to 2.5 lakh. No tax. Next 2.5 lakh at the rate of 5%. Next 5 lakh at the rate of 20%. So up to 10 lakh rupees out of this 64, up to 10 lakh rupees, your tax would be 1,12,500. Balance left 54 lakh. So upon 54 lakh, 30% rate would be applicable. That will come to 1732500. Okay. Anything else, student? Any query? If there is no query, then let's go for the story time and then we will close our session. So it's not a story, it's an actual thing which we can discuss. And this case, tax liability separate shoes calculation or directly answer? Show calculation, of course. Nagarja, you have to show the calculation of tax, then surcharge, then cess. That should be the part of your working note. And you can directly write it down the full figure in the solution part. Mustafa is saying, sir, just want to thank you for all the quotes and stories you told. Those are very inspiring and encouraging. You are very best for thank you. Last part of most beneficial. Harivansh want to see most beneficial. Thank you, sir. Harivansh, we are on YouTube. You can scroll back the video. You can see the last part multiple time whenever you want to see. Step marking, yes, it is step marking there, but do not think about the step marking, how it will be done. So just focus on your best, what you can give. Just give your best and forget everything else. Fine. Neeraj is saying, sir, you taught very well. Thank you so much. Shraddha is saying, stay blessed. Okay, thank you. Kuldeep is saying, resolving all illustration and question of material twice will give more clarity. Yes, if you will practice theoretical provision twice, if you solve question twice and you'll practice, definitely things will be easy in the examination. Thank you, sir. Neeraj saying, I'll miss you, sir. Okay, same as here. We will see each other someday. Of course, friend, when you will be a CA, definitely we could meet each other. Like there was WOFA every year. WOFA was last month, January 29, 30, 31, and 1st of February. So definitely if you'll be a CA, I would be in WOFA and someday definitely we will see each other. So, okay, story. It's not a story. It's an actual रियलिटी लुक एक बर्ड है ईगल हम सभी जानते हैं ईगल तो व्हाट हैपन एक्चुअली ईगल की लाइफ होती है ऑलमोस्ट 30 ईयर के आसपास सो आफ्टर 30 ईयर्स व्हाट हैपन उसकी जो बीक होती है फाइन वो बैंड होना शुरू हो जाती है सो ही इट कैन नॉट हंट एनीमोर उसके जो नेल्स होते हैं वो भी बैंड होना शुरू हो जाते हैं एंड उसके जो फेदर होते हैं वो इतने हैवी हो जाते हैं कि उसको उड़ने में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आती है तो जनरली 30 ईयर्स के बाद ईगल्स की डेथ हो जाती है उनका लाइफ स्पेन 35 ईयर्स होता है बट उन ईगल्स में से जो सबसे डेयरिंग ईगल होता है डेयरिंग वो जब ऐसा होता है कि उसकी बीक शार्प नहीं रहती, उसके जो नेल्स हैं, क्लॉज हैं, वो शार्प नहीं रहते, बैंड होना शुरू हो जाते हैं, उसके फेदर बहुत हैवी हो जाते हैं कि उड़ने में प्रॉब्लम आती है। तो ऑफ कोर्स दे कैन नॉट हंट, एंड उसकी वजह से उनकी डेथ हो जाती है, दे नॉट हैव फूड। तो जो बहुत ही करेजियस ईगल होता है ना, वो क्या करता है, वो अपने आसपास जो सबसे ऊपर हिल होती है उस हिल पे चला जाता है, और वो उस हिल पर जो पत्थर होते हैं उन पर अपनी बीक को बार बार हर्ट करता है, खुद को, बीक को उससे स्टोन पे बार बार मारता है, जिससे एक टाइम बाद उसकी बीक टूट जाती है। अपने जो नेल्स हैं, क्लॉज हैं, उन्हें घिसता है उस स्टोन पे, जिससे उसके नेल्स भी टूट जाते हैं। एंड अपनी बीक से अपने जो फेदर होते हैं, जो उसके ऊपर एक्स्ट्रा बर्डन आ जाता है, उनको अपनी बीक से खुद रिमूव करता है। सो इट्स अ वेरी पेनफुल प्रोसेस, वेरी वेरी पेनफुल प्रोसेस। एंड आफ्टर सम टाइम, लाइक आफ्टर 6 months, उसको एक नई बीक आती है ऑटोमेटिकली, उसको नए क्लॉज आते हैं, और जो फेदर जो हैवी वाले हैं वो हट जाते हैं। बट दिस इज अ वेरी पेनफुल प्रोसेस, इट्स नॉट इजी टू बी डन, बट इफ दैट ईगल मेक इट, देन उसको एकदम न्यू लाइफ मिलती है, एक न्यू बॉडी, एक न्यू हंटिंग के लिए बीक, क्लॉज एंड ब्यूटिफुल फेदर्स जो बहुत लाइट वेटेड होते हैं। एंड उसके बाद वो 20-30 years फिर से सर्वाइव करता है। सो द मोरल ऑफ द स्टोरी इज कि अगर कुछ लाइफ में अचीव करना है तो स्ट्रगल तो करना पड़ेगा। इवन यू कैन सी एनिमल्स एंड बर्ड्स आर डूइंग दिस, एंड वी आर ह्यूमन। सो हमें अपनी लाइफ में अगर कुछ अच्छा अचीव करना है, हमें तो इतना भी नहीं करना, वो तो बहुत पेनफुल प्रोसेस है कि खुद को हर्ट करना, इट्स नॉट इजी, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट। हमें तो सिर्फ क्या करना है, देर आर सर्टेन बुक्स, हमें उन्हें पढ़ना है। मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव लाइक, सबके पास फैसिलिटीज हैं बेसिक चीजों के लिए, तो आपको सिर्फ बैठकर पढ़ाई करनी है। हमें जब वो चीज भी बर्डन लगती है कि ये कितना डिफिकल्ट है, देन थिंक अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, दैट अ ईगल इज डूइंग दिस थिंग एंड आंट हाउ इट सर्वाइव्स। Those people do not have these kind of perquisite, they want to study but they do not have even food for themselves। तो हमारे पास बहुत प्रिविलेज्ड है, बस हमें अपने प्रिविलेज समझ नहीं आते। एंड बिलीव मी, दिस स्ट्रगल यू हैव टू डन। तो अगर आपको सच में लाइफ में कुछ बड़ा करना है, तो थोड़े सेक्रीफाइसेस फॉर नेक्स्ट 2 or 3 or 4 years यू हैव टू डन। अगर आप वो कर लोगे, तो यू विल अचीव वॉट एवर यू वॉन्ट इन योर लाइफ। सो वेन एवर यू फील डिप्रेस्ड, वेन एवर यू फील दैट इट कांट बी डन, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट दीज काइंड ऑफ स्टोरीज, कि जब ये रियल में हो सकता है, बाकी लोगों ने किया है, तो हो जाएगा। क्योंकि वो कहते हैं ना, करने से हो जाता है। तो करते रहो, धीरे धीरे करते रहो, हो जाएगा। ऐसा कोई रेस नहीं है कि सबसे पहले सीए आपको बनना है अपनी कंट्री में, या आपके साथ जितने दोस्त हैं उनमें आपको बनना। आपको सीए बनना है, ये मोट मैटर करता है। आपको वो लाइन जो है ना रेस की, वो फिनिश करनी है। वो फर्स्ट नंबर पे, सेकंड पे, थर्ड पे, कोई ऐसी कंपटीशन नहीं है। सबको मेडल यहाँ गोल्ड ही मिलेगा। यहाँ फर्स्ट वाले को गोल्ड, और सेकंड वाले को सिल्वर, और थर्ड वाले को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं। यू विल ऑल गेट द सेम डिग्री लेटर और सून। तो बस करते रहो, बिकॉज करने से तो हो ही जाता है। सो एक बड़ी स्ट्रेंज, बड़ी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग स्लाइड मैं आपको शेयर कर रहा हूँ, बिकॉज व्हेन आई वाज स्टडिंग, जब मैं सीए कर रहा था, तो कई टाइम में बहुत फ्रस्ट्रेट होता था, बहुत, मुझे भी बहुत डिप्रेशन होते थे। वी ऑल आर सेम, कोई बहुत डिफरेंस नहीं है। पढ़ने में तो मैं बहुत ही बेकार था। 11-12 तक तो मैं बहुत ही बहुत ही बहुत ही कैजुअल स्टूडेंट था पढ़ने में। बट व्हेन आई कम इन टू दिस सीए, देन आई स्टार्ट वैल्यूइंग स्टडीज। एंड जिस दिन वो मेरा इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट हुआ ना कि मुझे अपने लिए कुछ बनना है, तो सब कुछ ईजी होता गया। बट हमारा कोर्स बहुत लेंदी है, एंड सम टाइम इट रियली हर्ट अलॉट, वी फील फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, डिप्रेस्ड एटसेट्रा। तो मैंने एक पोएम बनाई थी अपने लिए उस टाइम खुद से, एंड मैं उसको हमेशा फॉलो करता था। एंड वो पोएम मैं अपने हर बैच में लास्ट क्लास में शेयर भी करता हूँ स्टूडेंट से, एंड दिस इज रियली वर्थ इट। Let me show you that slide, and maybe you will understand the power of this poem. So when you feel frustrated, depressed, low, just repeat these words, and I believe that will work for at least any of you. If it works for any one of them, it will definitely valuable. So let me show you that poem. It's not poem, it's really very close to my hearts, because I, whenever I see these lines, I remember my struggle time. And you can read it. It says, it's दिल की धड़कन कहती है, उम्मीद अभी भी बाकी है। So when you feel frustrated, depressed, you can read these lines. ये रात कभी तो गुजरेगी, वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी, एक दिन ऐसा भी आएगा, एग्जाम का टेंशन उड़ जाएगा। सो एक दिन ऐसा भी आएगा, एग्जाम का टेंशन उड़ जाएगा, एंड द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट लाइट, एक दिन ऐसा ही आएगा मेरे नाम में सीए जुड़ जाएगा. So definitely it will happen one day. If you will be consistent, patient, and working hard regularly, you will get this CA prefix before your name. So the exam का tension उड़ेगा and आपके नाम में CA जुड़ेगा, and it will be with you till end. Once you will be a CA, you will always be a CA. So thank you for all the session, Neeraj Singh. Have a great day and take rest because you will not be teaching us. Do not worry, my wishes with all of you, and I believe you all will be chartered accountant like CA Neeraj, CA Shamli, CA Tiwari Radhesham, CA Mustafa, CA Linga, CA Navneet. You all will be a CA. If you will not going to leave CA, CA will not going to leave you. Thank you. Okay, see it student times, some poem creating. Yes, have to do all these things. Blessing of you, Vishal sir, and all faculty. I'm going to give first examination. All the best. Yeah, thank you so much for experts. Valuable session, realistic story. Always grateful for you. It would be really helpful if you suggest what we can do for the next 3 months so that we can definitely pass an examination. Just revise things, make a schedule, follow it with discipline, with sacrifice, and I guess we will meet before 1 month before your examination for revisionary classes. So at that time, we will decide what could we do more for you. Thank you, everyone. You forget my name, okay, Mr. कौन है? Shraddha, CA Shraddha, okay? Yes, hope still remain. Just revise twice. That's my advice to make you wise. Thanks, BOS. Thanks all. Okay. So, Mr. Akash ji, session has been completed. So we can close the session. All the best.